What we're gonna do is take the R in Chevrolet, line it up with this hole, and make the brackets work for us. Stinkbug is super cool looking, lowered, front and rear match, but still undrivable for a couple small reasons, and that's what we're gonna work on today. We're gonna start where we stopped, which is the rear, because if you recall, we didn't have shocks. These are the old units. I took some measurements on our current ride height, estimated the amount of travel we needed, and I found some that I think will work. They're gonna be overall a little bit shorter, but that's okay because we're a little bit shorter. 89 to 97 Geo Tracker, by the way. So I'm sure they're valved appropriately. They were 33 bucks a piece. We just need something back there. So ran into problems early, which is not surprising when you're trying to fit Geo Tracker shocks into your 1950 Chevrolet. Bushing was a touch too wide to fit in the bracket. Instead of bending the bracket, I went ahead and zipped off a little bit on the bandsaw. Not a big deal. The other thing that I didn't expect is I bought brand new 3/8 hardware, and this hole's bigger than that. So I dug through my bolt bin and I found some Nissan 240SX front suspension bolts. They have an eccentric, which isn't gonna matter, but they are M12, which is perfect for this. I'll just put the eccentric to the inside and it'll do nothing. We just have to be mindful of this eccentric washer in which way, oh, we have to be mindful of that brake setup too. We're gonna have to come up like this, plenty long. At least I'm not gonna space it with lug nuts if you were wondering. Retire that technique. We've got the bottom mount that we're gonna suck down, and then the top mount up there that we need to tighten and get some squish in those bushings. Remember the axle's sitting on stands, so this is kind of ride height. This much up travel. It is only gonna be about 5 inches, but I think that's all we need before we get into bump stop territory. The other thing about leaf springs is as they approach their travel limit, spring rate generally goes up. So the closer we get to the bump, the harder it's gonna be to flatten that spring, and it's actually gonna start trying to bend it the other way, which is gonna be really hard. So I don't think we'll slam into the bump. We'll have a little bit of a warning. It might hurt your back, but we'll have a warning. The other thing I'm gonna do right now is change how we clamp the leaf springs together. I use those like trailer U-bolts, which are great, but it clamps it. And the spring leaves need to slide against each other a little bit. So I bought these and I'm gonna replace those. This is like a top and bottom kind of cap deal. Put it on over the spring and then you hammer these over, which will keep it together, but it'll let it slip a little bit. Because right now, I think we basically made one big monoleaf. All right, well, we got shocks on the rear, brakes adjusted and bled. I'm gonna put the tires back on, get the rear end back on the ground, move it out just a touch, and then we need to align it, basically, because we have all new steering gear, so we gotta set the toe. I want to bleed the front brakes again because they're brand new. Visually, this thing looks like it's towed in at least ½ an inch, and it squeaks really bad when you roll it on polished concrete, so I can tell something's not right in the front end. So what I'm going to do is I have it jacked up. I have it on ramps. I'm gonna grab my toe plates, which is kind of challenging to do by yourself. I may have to enlist some help, but I'm gonna take a quick toe measurement. I expect it to be smaller in the front, bigger in the back, which would mean it's towed in. And then because of the way we built our tie rod, we should be able just to twist that bar and get it straight up or maybe a 1/16 in. I don't think these trucks want a lot of toe. We're not gonna put a lot of toe in ours. And then we should be aligned. So that's pretty much the only stuff you can change on the front of these. Oh yeah. Significant amount of toe in. My ½ inch guess would have been good. We're over an inch towed in right now, which is fine. That's just kind of how we set it up. Eyeball style. I got the jam nuts loose. Now, if you remember back to when we built this, the tie rod is behind the axle, which means we need to shorten it to tow it out because we're basically pinching the back of the tire, not the front. If it was in front of the axle to tow it out, we'd make it longer. But behind the kingpin is probably a better way to think about that, or the pivot point. So it's low now, it's hard to get underneath, but I'm gonna try to get myself under there, make an eyeball adjustment, and then I'll check the toe, make another one, check the toe, make another one, until we get 0 or maybe just a touch towed in. Well, we got the toe set. I got some of the hardware replaced with Nylox. Be a little better for steering gear, I think. Next thing I wanna do is address a little bit of fender clearance issues on this side only. You can see how this fender's pushed in quite a bit. It rubs on this side. If it was where it's supposed to be, it'd be just fine. There's also a big wowie, like right here. See that? That is just asking to cut the sidewall of this tire. I don't know if there's a ton I can do about the fender. I'll try to bang it out a little bit. But get a jack handle in here and roll it, but the whole fender isn't attached that good, so it kind of just moves but I'm gonna fold that little lip for sure. After that, I'm gonna pull the cap and look at this wheel bearing. It feels looser than I remember and than I like. I got this lip taken care of. I don't know if you can see, but I just kind of came in here and pinched it with a pair of pliers and then pulled on it. It is broken right here, so I don't want to pull too hard, but that's good news. I learned back in my drift car days that if it can move, the tire will just move it. So not too worried about it. What I am worried about a little bit, when I was setting the toe, I noticed this. Listen now. You hear that? There's some movement in this hub, and I remember setting the wheel bearings, but it doesn't seem like there's much drag on it, and I can get a little up, down, side to side. So I'm gonna pop this cap back off, pull the cotter pin, and probably put a turn or two, or just, you know, reset this side. Now it has had weight on it. I've rolled it back and forth. I haven't really driven it, but maybe it's new bearings just settling in. After our first drive, we'll probably end up doing this again. Okay, that was one castle. Let's go another. I do think it's getting better. What happens if I go one more? This might be on the verge of too tight. I think I might run it there, maybe a little bit tight, but brand new everything, it may settle in. I think what I'm gonna do is get these bumper brackets off because they're not in very good shape. All the bolts are rusted and have been breaking off. And then I'm gonna hold it up there. It attaches basically, this is the right-hand side, so it bolts to like the frame rail leaf spring hanger area, and then this side engages the bumper. It's got 3 bolts here, 3 bolt holes. I'm hoping they're equidistant. I'd like to sneak it back one set of holes and kind of suck the bumper in, because I've always felt like the front bumper on this truck hung out a long ways and looked kind of goofy. Makes it hard to get in the garage too. But I think we need something up here, because ever since I lowered it, now when you look at it, it's got this round shape in the front that never really stops. It reminds me of like a Henry J almost, or something. So I think if we come down to here and then have like a little kind of bumper step, it'll actually look better, and it might even look lower because the bumper will hang low to the ground a little bit. We're probably going to do a little bit of mods to the bumper itself, but like these big tow hook shin buster 9000s, I'm going to probably lose those, and I don't think I'm gonna bang any dents out of it or nothing, but the whole goal is to get it tighter to the nose. I have an idea, let me show you. We may be able to put the middle hole in the farthest back slot, which sucks this in a couple inches, which might be all we need. There's some interference with the head of a rivet here that we're gonna have to drill a hole for, and we may have to, I'd like to drill at least one more hole for one other bolt. This one's really close, that's probably what we'd pick. We're not afraid of a little modification. And the worst part about cutting metal on this truck is it's shiny underneath and it looks way out of place, but I'll cut whatever we have to. So let me set you guys down and we'll do the quick mock-up here. Oh, maybe I can just hang it there to get the, that's pretty sucked in, but I kind of like it, and I could cut, I'm not afraid to radius this bumper. This is gonna come crashing down, but I really need to see that side. Oh wow. But if I could get bolts in the center, I could build a spacer for the rear to maintain this distance. This distance looks better. It's gonna mess up our license plate mount, which we could cut off. That's not a big deal. If we can get this squared up, then I could come in here and trim that out. So, because right now it's actually resting on the grill, which I don't necessarily want. I could even just put the plate centered up in the front. I have to grind this stuff down a little more. I think we're gonna try it. You can always cut it back off. I can feel the bearings in this grinder going out. $9 Harbor Freight. All right, did a little trimming, threw a grinder away. Let's see what it looks like now. I don't think I'm done cutting, but I need to take more out of here because it looks stupid right now. I believe this truck has hit stuff before. Bumper brackets may not be exactly where they're supposed to be. So what we're gonna do is take the orange Chevrolet, line it up with this hole, make the brackets work for us. Got our bumper brackets where they're gonna be. This is the sucked in position. I would say Frenched, but we're not that fancy. I was able to kind of move things around a little bit. Just having this bumper on there would probably bring the front down 2 inches. I forgot how heavy it was. That looks just about like I wanted. I think it really squares the front end off and makes it look a bunch better. Otherwise, it's just this like gentle curve, and it kind of like keeps curving, and it looks like a person who has a weird nose. Now we got a chin. It also visually kind of lowers the front a little bit more. Probably end up grinding this stuff now a little flatter. We will put the plate right there. Here's the finished look. You can see we got the plate on it centered up. I was able to find some like kind of tapered spacer washers. Actually what those are is they're high misalignment spacers for heim joints. So They're really, really expensive to use as washers, but they actually look perfect. So we're gonna leave them, whatever. And this is the look. I think it looks awesome. All right, well, I think that's gonna do it for today. I'm gonna clean up my mess a bit and we're gonna wait out the rain. And I wanna take this thing out on the street. We got brand new brakes up front. We got brand new shocks all the way around. We got brand new tires, brand new stance, cool looking front bumper. All right, well, I'm not sure if you can tell, but behind me it is currently snowing like crazy, which means Stinkbug is probably not going on its first drive this weekend. Although it is now ready, we both are gonna have to wait yet again for a future episode of Tiger's Garage. Thank you so much for following along. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week, hopefully with better weather, and we'll get to take this thing on its first lowered drive.